Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spiritual Talk.
See, now normally I'd be really ready for this, but I forgot the button.
Oh,
So we are live.
Okay.
We are live, but guys, hi everybody, and welcome to Spiritual Talk, take 2. Hi everyone, welcome to Spiritual Talk. Jane, all the best laid plans, and it all went wrong, didn't it?
Of course.
We rehearsed that as well.
We did.
There was me, finger on the button, and I missed it. Oh well, but we're here, we're live. It's Wednesday night, it's 8 o'clock, and it's Spiritual Talk. It's great to be back. And we've got another great guest, Jane, haven't we?
We do, for sure. Thank you so much for joining us. Please welcome our special guest, psychic medium Craig Morris.
Without further ado, let's get him in. Hi, Craig, and thank you for joining us.
Hello, good evening. It's a pleasure. Pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So, Craig, on Spiritual Talk, we'd like to know how people become a medium. I know you've got quite a story of how it all started for you. Would you like to let us know how that all started for you?
So I think there's a bit of a delay. So anybody that's watching, I apologize. We've had new internet today, so I'm sorry. But basically for me, my journey started quite a few years ago after my granddad passed, and he was somebody that I was really, really close to, and didn't really understand the whole concept of mediumship or psychic abilities or anything like that at all until my neighbour said, "Why don't you go and see a medium?" So I went to go and see a local medium in the Midlands, who then said to me, "Oh, you want to be doing this? You will be doing this." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." Little bit skeptical at the time, I suppose. And anyway, well, here I am. But how it started for me from that point was I was doing my dream job. And from that point, I ended up going to Stafford Spiritualist Church just to sort of see what it was all about, just have a nosy around. And then from that point, got myself onto a workshop for a couple of days. And basically, made my first link. Never thought it would happen. Started to gain more of an understanding of the subject matter itself. And here we are. The rest is history, I suppose. But so much more in between.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll delve a little bit more into that. Jane and I were having a quick look at your website as well. And there's a little bit more of your backstory on your website as well. Yes. So people, guys, if you get a chance, have a quick look. But Craig, is it fair to say you're a seasoned medium? You're a well-known medium. You tour around the country. You're not just in this country, but Europe as well, and internationally. You've been working really hard as a medium. I kind of want to go back to what you just said about the first time you had a contact. And there's a lot of people that watch Spiritual Talk that, they're wondering whether they're mediumistic or they're just interested. But for you, though, what was it like for the first time you connected with the spirit world and believed it? Because there is this level, isn't there, of self-belief.
Absolutely. You talk about the self-belief 100%. Absolutely. And I think there's a lot of questions, even later on, I've done private readings this afternoon, and you sit there and there's things that come through and you say what you're given, and even then you still sit there. And I've been doing this quite a while now, excuse me, but still sit there sometimes and think, where's this coming from? But then of course you sat there and you're like, this is amazing. But for me, when it first happened and I didn't realize it was probably when I was about 7 years old, and I used to not every night, but some nights I'd go to the bathroom, and right opposite the bathroom was my brother's bedroom, and he would always leave his door open. And in there, not all of the time, but sometimes I'd look into his bedroom and I'd see a lady stood next to him, thinking I was dreaming, thought nothing of it. And then a little bit later on in life, of course, starting to look through photos and beginning to understand who's who in life, it actually turned out the lady that I was seeing next to my brother was my nan, who was my mom's mom, who died 3 years before I was born. So that was when it sort of happened. But when I first made my my link, as in like giving a message, it was on the weekend. I'd gone to Stafford Spiritualist Church, and I sat with this lady, and she says, "Right, let's just go for it. Just give what you've got." I'm like, "How do I do this?" Yeah. And at that point, in a nutshell, I just felt the presence of I felt the presence of a lady. At the time, I couldn't understand it. I just said, I think I've got a lady. I think she's your mom. I think she smokes, and I think she died of this. And it's like, I think, because of course, at the start, it's all on the mind. It's all in the mind. And even now, it's all in the mind subconsciously. So it's, for me, it was at that point, I think, having been so excited that lady sat in front of me was able to confirm and validate that the information that was coming through was in fact from her mom.
Yeah. Well, it's fair to say you've gone on so far since that first connection and since working at this centre. And is it the Barbanel? Did you say Barbanel Centre, or just make that up?
No, it's now known as the Barbanel Centre. But when I was there, it was. When I was there, it was called the Arthur Findlay College. Sorry, not Arthur Findlay College, the Arthur Findlay Centre. Sorry, when I was there.
Okay, okay. So from that moment in time, you've gone on to work with some pretty special people in the mediumship world.
I have, yeah. I've been very fortunate. I've been very lucky.
So, please give name drop, because I'm sure people will recognize some of these names.
Yeah. So so of course one of the first people that people will recognise is of course the late Colin Fry, who I had the pleasure of working with, and he took me on tour, gave me a big break, to be, and his words, not mine, were to be seen by a bigger audience. And he literally took me up and down the country. He took me overseas, to Spain, Gibraltar. And there were talks of going into other places, but of course his health, that wasn't able to happen. And I've, through Colin, I've been very fortunate to have worked with some other wonderful mediums, Billy Cook, Gordon Smith, Les Henderson, all of these wonderful mediums.
You're booked to work with Billy, aren't you? I've noticed you've got a show coming up. Yes. Is it Liverpool with Billy? So that'll be good. Is it Liverpool?
Not Liverpool. No, so I am doing Liverpool. I'm going to be in Liverpool later on in November, but that's on my own. But I'm with Billy. We are going to be online in November together. Okay. So we're doing an online demonstration, an online workshop as well. But next year, we'll probably do more online stuff, but we are going to be also doing in-person work as well, like Colchester and Reading as well, just to name a couple of places.
Nice. Have you ever come to Norfolk?
Well, I might do. Who knows? If I get an invitation. I was asked recently to go to Norfolk. However, the lady that wanted to book me, she wanted something this year, which I just couldn't offer, unfortunately. So she got another medium that could.
Oh, bless. So right.
Yeah.
Carol didn't have a question already.
So Carol's asking, how long have you been developing your gifts?
Oh, blimey. Well, I think we're always developing, is the honest answer to that. But when I first started, we're going back, 13, 14 years now. Again, it started at Stafford Spiritualist Church, the Arthur Findlay Centre, which is now, of course, the Barbanel. And it was from there I was introduced to two wonderful people, Tim and Jeanette Abbott. And I got to sit with Jeanette in her circle, and Tim joined us on a regular basis as well. Done many of their workshops over the years, and it was down to them that they really pushed me out of my comfort zone, if you like, many times. But that's what they do. That's what any tutor will do when they see potential in all their students. So for me, that's how long I've been developing, and you're always learning something. Like I say, I don't think you ever stop learning in this work.
Okay, so Rhonda asks, as a medium, are you told about your own health issues?
Not really, not that I can say to. Good question, but not that I can sort of think about. I was earlier on this year, back in July, so a few weeks or a couple of weeks before I was due for my summer break, I woke up one morning and my hubby was away in Birmingham working at the Commonwealth Games, and I woke up in severe pain in my stomach and thought nothing of it. And I just thought, I know, and I don't think it's that I've ever been told. I don't think it was that I was told by the spirit world. I think it's just you as an individual, you know your own body, you know yourself. So for me, it was a gut instinct. I just knew something wasn't right. So thankfully, I trusted that gut instinct. It just took me a little while because I went on that evening. I went on to do a demonstration local here in South Yorkshire, and it turned out once I'd finished the demonstration, I got home. A couple of hours later, I was at the hospital being blue lighted and rushed down to theatre because I had appendicitis. So it's not necessarily I've been told by the spirit world, but I think it's just trusting your intuition, trusting your gut instinct, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, we got another question from Suzanne as well.
So Suzanne asks, is it harder to get messages from loved ones than others?
I presume she means like as in the sense of like me getting messages from my own loved ones with that.
Yeah.
I suppose I always say to people, because I always like to go and have private readings, maybe once a year or once every couple of years perhaps, or when I just feel the need. And sometimes because I'm surrounded by other mediums, again, I've mentioned a couple of them, Billy, Tim, Jeanette. Sometimes I end up, it just ends up coming into a conversation that something, comes through. However, sometimes I'm sat at home and I think, I could just do with a bit of a inspiration on this, or I could just do with a bit of a help on that, come and talk to me. And sometimes it'll be when I least expect it, or sometimes I'll be sat meditating or on a walk, whatever it might be. So I think it's harder in some senses, but that's only when you overthink it, because you think to yourself, well, I know that that's what your voice sounds like. I know that that's what you probably say, or so you end up questioning. So I think that's the only reason why it's harder. However, if you were to just simply be aware and listen, just like we would say within your abilities when you're developing, I don't think it's difficult at all. But that's my take on it. Other mediums, other people might have a different approach on it. It's a great question, because of course, for yourself, either Paul or Jane, if I'm reading for you, I've got nothing to really think about. I just say, right, I know I'll become aware of a gentleman, or I'll become aware of a lady, and I give you the information, I give you the evidence that I'm getting. And it's like, I know that these people aren't connected to me. So in that aspect, yes, that is obviously more natural. I won't say easier, but it's more natural to work in that sense. But when I'm wanting to maybe make that connection with a loved one, it tends to just happen without me even asking or realizing. I just get this high-pitched tone in my ear. I'm like, somebody's here, and then straight away I move my awareness, and then I generally get a feel as to who it is as well.
Yeah, we have got questions flying
in. We do. So Zobo asks, what favorite part of being a medium? What's your favorite part of being a medium?
Oh, blimey, there's so many. I think there's so many with it. Again, another great question. I think the reason why there's so many, because I'm fortunate I get to travel to different parts. Not just the country, but of course I get to travel abroad, and a couple of times this year, Switzerland has happened, and I get to go to a beautiful city called Neuchâtel. Next year, I'm off to Sweden. So for me, that's exciting, because not only is it exciting in the sense that I get to travel to a different country or a different part of the world that I've not been to before, but I also get to work with new people. that I've never met before. And it kind of what it does is it takes your mediumship out again of out to another comfort zone, or out of your comfort zone, because you're working with people from a different country with a different language, but yet the language of mediumship isn't any different. So whether you're talking to somebody who's English or whether you're talking to somebody who is Swedish, the energy and the language of mediumship is still the same, because it's energy, and it's that we work with. But other parts that are exciting is when you're reading for somebody that perhaps either needs it, or perhaps, I think it's when you can make a significant impact to somebody's life. And I think one of the biggest ones that I can recall, if I'm completely truthful, was quite a few years ago now, before the lockdown. There was a lady who come to see me. Some people may have heard this before, but I read for this lady, and as soon as she sat down in front of me, her friend stepped forward from the spirit world, and the first thing that came through was, tell her it's not her time. So I passed that on. She was like, okay, no problem. Then her parents stepped forward. Again, lovely journey with the stories, the memories that she remembered. And then the last part, which we say the reason for coming, what is that reason for coming today? Her friend stepped in again and said, tell her again, it's not her time. So I've learned over the years not to make any assumptions whatsoever with what we do, because you just don't know where people are at in their life. Anyway, it turned out at the end, as this lady was leaving, she went to the door, she handed me this envelope, and genuinely thought it was the balance of her sitting that she was paying for. Basically, that's what I thought. So I went to open it. She goes, oh no, don't open it yet, wait till I've gone. So I thought, oh, okay, why is that then? And then anyway, as she was leaving, then she handed me the money, then she went. So I was like, okay, so what? And she'd gone before I even had time to think about it or process it. So I shut the door, opened this envelope, and it was a suicide note.
Wow.
And she actually said, I won't be needing that. So you know what? There are some magical parts to our work, but and I say this to people that it can also be life-changing, and that certainly for me was life-changing.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Helen asks, good evening. My question is, why is it easier for some people to be able to develop their abilities quicker than others?
Good question. Good evening, Helen. So for me, I think it's just the same in anything. So, and I tend to use, especially when I'm teaching, I tend to use a lot of analogies. And one in this instance I tend to use is having done martial arts for years, some people, and having used to teach it as well, having seen some new students that would come in, you'd see some of them that would just take to it like a duck does to water. And for others, it took longer. But the reason why it took them longer is because they overthought it. Whereas the ones that did it naturally, they just got on with it. They didn't. They made the mistakes along the way, and they learned from them. Like, right, well, I won't do that again because it's wrong. Whereas other people question it so much more. And I think it's the same with mediumship. And I think also it's like, what do you want to do this for? If you're wanting to develop your abilities as a medium, what's the reason? Is there a reason for wanting to help people? Is it just for yourself? And if it is, that's okay. There's no right or wrong answer. But I think it's really about going into it with a complete open mind as well, and just saying, do you know what? Here's the other thing. Everybody in life has different experiences. There are people in life that have gone through losing parents at a young age. There are people that have gone through life, that were in, in childcare for years because they didn't have a family. People that were nurses or doctors, and these kinds of people, that have had all these experiences, they bring that into their mediumship. So because of that, that means then that there are certain times when they're working that somebody might come through that was a nurse, or there might be somebody that comes through that was also in childcare. So there's all these sorts of things to sort of look at. But for me, the biggest part, again, just my take on it, is I think where people tend to overthink things. So just allow it to happen. It's what I always say when I teach on a workshop, and I had it recently in Wales when I was running a seminar at Hafni Coed. There were a couple of people on there that were quite new to this, and I said, just go for it. If you get a no, you get a no. Just go for it. And you saw you saw them come alive.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Sorry, Paul. So Carol asks, what does it feel like when you move your consciousness physically?
Blimey, good. It's kind of, the only way to describe it is it's almost like a gut instinct. It's a knowing. It's just, you just know. And I always say to people, when you walk into a room and there's already a couple of people in there, but it's that feeling of you can cut the atmosphere with a knife. You just know something's gone on, or something's been said, or there's been a heated discussion, an argument. You just know. So for me, it's a bit like that in a way. You just know. And again, I've mentioned I've done some of the readings today and this week, and some of the people that I've got to read for, some of the elements of how their loved ones passed, you know, you do pick up on, and some you pick up more than others. Yeah. And, you know, sometimes you feel the physical sense of things, you know, so, you know, if somebody was affected on the mind before the past, or if somebody was affected in this area before the past, you know, you might find yourself getting a bit confused. You might feel yourself getting a tickly throat, so you cough. So there's all sorts of things to be aware of when you're working. So for me, it's just, it works in different ways. It depends as well on how the person passed and the strength and the energy as well. So if that's kind of answering that, I don't know if it is or not, but yeah, I hope that sort of helps in that way.
Just to quickly, Sharon, yes, we can see your messages coming in only now. So wherever you've changed, we're going to 8 different destinations, guys. So sometimes if you go into some of the groups, we only see you as Facebook user, but bear with us. We'll come to you. Just we'll find you. Don't worry. Okay. Lou Cook's just asked a great question as well. That's a brilliant question.
Yes. So do you think meditation is crucial to develop?
I think it certainly helps, definitely. And I think in the early days it helps, because what it does is it allows you to, you know, quieten the mind, clear the mind. So yeah, certainly in the early days, definitely. But sometimes, you know, some people think that before you work as a medium that you go and sit and meditate for an hour. Me personally, I don't. It just kind of depends what sort of day I've had. Personally, I still like to sit, and I always have like a little piece of music I play, and I like to just go and sit in the quiet, just even if it's just for 10 minutes. And I tend to go off, and what I do is I always have that little 10 minutes there at least. And then what I also like to do is I also like to send up a thought, a prayer with my intentions as to what, you know, we're wanting to gain from, whether it's private readings or if it's a demonstration or a workshop. You know, you're wanting to, you know, so for me, meditation is important. I don't think it's something that has to be done all of the time, because there's you know, some people that I know, other mediums, a mate of mine, Steve, you know, he doesn't meditate as such in the sense that we would know it to be, like where you sit and all that sort of thing. He likes to go in the garden for a couple of hours. He likes to swim. So that's his way of meditating. And then he's ready to go and work then, and probably after a 20-minute kip. But yeah, so everybody's different. So I think, just to add on to that as well, if I could, is I think it's important to recognise that it's important that you find your way of working as well. So by all means, listen to other people's ideas, try them, but don't think because it works for one person that it's always going to work for you. Always find your own way of preparing and working.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So can I ask you a quick question, Craig? Who inspires you? You know, is it someone from the past, or is it more of a? I mean, obviously, Colin must have been a massive inspiration. But is there anybody from going back in time, or for me personally, I love the work of Gordon Higginson.
Yes, you know? Yeah. I think I think there's quite a few, to be honest. I mean, you know, there are, and I've mentioned them tonight as well. You know, obviously, yes, Colin, definitely, because you know, Colin not only helped me on my journey as a medium, but he helped me on my journey, you know, going out and to working with the public more. You know, Tim and Jeanette have played a massive part in my, and have inspired me so much. And even now, you know, when I'm in the Midlands visiting my parents and my brother, family, I always do my best to try and catch up with them, because they inspire me to, you know, with my actual mediumship as well. That's the thing. And you know, they help to get me out into the spiritualist churches, which is the foundation of our work and my work. Billy Cook, he's somebody that inspires me. Again, he's been there left, right and centre over the last few years. Again, through Colin, I met Billy, and Tim and Jeanette as well. But there's somebody that I also, again, funnily enough, there is somebody else as well that I've only been talking to today, a gentleman called Philip Solomon, a fellow Midlander, wonderful medium. He's somebody that's always been at the end of the phone, if you like. But one person's work, and I know not everybody's probably going to agree with this, but somebody that I've followed for quite a few years, who's quite a famous, quite a well-known medium, is John Edward. Not necessarily, not necessarily for his mediumship as such. His mediumship's great, and I've seen him live a few times, and I've met him, you know, several times, and he's a wonderful, wonderful guy. But it's his philosophy on what we do. You know, his philosophy on the subject matter, if you like, and mediumship itself, in by helping other people. And when I say other people, I mean, you know, the public, to understand, you know, how this works and how it is that you can recognize when your loved ones are around as well. So there's loads. Gordon Smith, you know, all these wonderful people and mediums who have had the fortunate of knowing or meeting. There's quite a few, to be fair.
There's a couple here. Eddie has asked, or can I put that up on the screen? Can you see that one, Jane?
Yes, certainly. This one?
I think it's Eddie. Hi, Eddie. He's coming in from Liverpool. Thanks for joining, Eddie. My mind is always busy with ADHD, but it becomes quiet during giving the message, as if spirit enables the quiet. I know it's not a question, but do you think that's a thing? Because I know I'm slightly on the spectrum. I've got I'm dyslexic, and I know it's part of this, you know, on the spectrum, and I can be a bit dreamy. Do you think there's certain things that can help someone with that aspect of mediumship? I don't want to say I'm off with the fairy.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I think what's important with that is that just goes to show, regardless of where you are, where you're at, you know, with you know, in your life, or you know, what you've got going on in life, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you know, any health issues you've got. Once you're in the company of the spirit world, the spirit world are a world of intelligence. Once you're in that energy and you're in that place, you're buzzing. You know, you're in the energy, you're buzzing. You know, and you're taken away from you know, your you know, any issues that you have. So yeah, I do, and I tell you, the example that I give is. A few years ago, so I think it would have been 2015, I think I'd like to say. I was in Southampton with Colin, and I was doing my usual guest spot and everything with him there. And it was with the wonderful Colin and Annette Blam, who I'm still very good friends with to this day. And Colin had said to me, when we got into the first half, we do 2 halves of 1 hour, and then we have a break for 20 minutes. And he said to me in the first half, he said, I will do 30 minutes. At 30 minutes, so at 8 o'clock, I want you to stop me. You then do the last half an hour. Then we'll have a break, and then I'll come on and do the first half again of the second part, and we'll do that. Anyway, bearing in mind at this point, Colin had got cancer, you know, and it was only a couple of months, 2-3 months after this, that he then actually passed. So we got to the hotel, we were ready to go. He was sat, and he started by sitting in his chair. He got his walking stick, he lay on the floor, he sat there And he said to everybody, he said, I'm really sorry. He said, but I'm just not at the moment. He said, I'm just not strong enough to stand up. He said, but I'm going to do my best for you. And he sat there and he started talking as he would, introducing how he worked, all of that and everything. And, you know, within 5 minutes of him working, he stood up. And then within 10 minutes of him working, it was just like there was nothing wrong with him. It was Colin Fry, how I remembered him from the very first time I ever met him and watched him work. And, you know, he was up and down off the platform. And, you know, then we were coming towards the end of the first half, which was at the end. So where I should have been doing a guest spot, I just thought, I'm going to let him carry on. He'll have me afterwards for it, but I'm just going to let him carry on because these people have paid to see him, not me. And he come to look at his watch and it was 25 past 8, and he looked at me and he said, I told you to stop me at 8 o'clock. He said, what have you done? So anyway, and you could, by this point he was back in his chair, and then he looked at his watch and said that, and he said, right, we're going to take a break. And he said, I can't, well, you can believe it because he was in the company of the spirit world. And I very much believe that, you know, not only would it have been the loved ones that were coming through to say hello to their loved ones in the audience, in the congregation, but it would have been his guides and helpers from the spirit world as well. So regardless of what you've got going on health-wise, once you're in the company, you're in the company.
Yeah, Jane, thank you for that. Jane, can you see that one from Sharon?
Let me see.
Sharon Hull, she's asked, and I kind of want to put a little bit on the end of that as well. Ask Craig a little bit. Can you see?
Yes. Okay.
So she's put, hi Craig, before my mum passed 4 years ago, she was adamant she would send a message if there was an afterlife. Why do you think she hasn't been? There's so many things I'd like to add on and say about that because it's so difficult, isn't it? Especially if you're going to reading I just want that evidence and nothing else.
Absolutely. So again, so for me, I always say to people, listen, you know, I've read for people. I remember again going back quite a few years ago now, I was in Stafford, I was doing a private reading. It was about 8:30 this time of the evening. And as I was working with this lady, I believe it was her auntie that came through, and she said, can I ask you a question? I said, yeah, please go for it. She said, can you tell me, is this lady been passed a long time or is it only recently? I said, I have to tell you the truth. I said, it feels like recently to me. And she went, yeah. She said she died at 10:30 this morning.
Wow.
So it was the same day that this lady had come through. And there was another lady I read for a few years after that, again in the Midlands, and she sat in front of me, and her dad, as soon as she sat down, I explained how I worked, and then straight away, her dad was there. He came through, excuse me, started talking. Lovely message. We come to the end of it and she just leant over and she went, thank you very much for that. Because I've waited, how long had she been waiting? She had been waiting 23 years or 29 years, sorry, because I've waited 29 years for that message from her. And she was like, I can't believe it. Because why now though? And we were chatting about it afterwards. And I said, the honest answer I can give is I don't know. I really don't know. So the answer to that question is it could be for a different amount of reasons. And bearing in mind, I always say to people, I don't know all the answers. I can only give you my own input, my own interpretation on it. Yeah. But it might be that you've not had the right medium that to connect with to pass you on, you know, that message. It might be that they're not ready to come through, but it could ultimately be you're not ready for that message either. No matter how much you might feel that you're ready, but you may not be ready.
But that's not you criticizing another medium. It might not be.
Not
you know, it's like they say people are attracted to us, or we connect better to people that have had similar experiences in our life. So
yeah, again, only recently there was a lady who from London. She booked a private reading with me, and I've got a couple of people that do my bookings for me for private readings because usually I'm out on the road and everything. So and it always started to take me forever to reply to messages. Anyway, so Claire mainly does that for me. So all I get emailed is, this is who you're going to read for. It's the name, there's the date, and there's the Zoom link. That's all I ever need to know. I don't need to know anything else. So, and there was this one day I sat there, and as I was working with this lady, I started, and I just thought, this isn't working. So there was a couple of things that I said to her, and I went, this isn't working. I said, I'm going to be truthful with you. I said, I'm not going to sit here and make this up. I said, it's just not going to happen. And I'm certainly not going to sit here and just make things fit. So, you know, you've got this time regardless. You'll get your money back. That's fine. But you've got, and I always give people the opportunity of doing one of two things. Either they just get a full refund straight away, or we can try again at another date that's available. But this lady said, no, I'm, you know, she goes, actually, I like your honesty. I said, listen, I can recommend quite a few other mediums that you can go and speak to. So anyway, we had that conversation and we just ended up chatting for a little while. You know, what it does is it comes to a point where you as the medium as well have to recognize then, or, you know, when it's right and when it's not, you know, rather than just trying to sort of struggle through a reading. You'll know when it's not right. And for me, that day, it just wasn't. So I was not the medium for her.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's another. Go on. Sorry, Jane.
Oh, I was just going to say, so Helen has a good question. So do our guides enhance our ability to use it in mediumship? For example, if someone is a really keen writer or enjoys painting and drawing, would they use this to incorporate their mediumship?
Good question. Maybe. Who knows? I think if when it comes to, like, for example, of course, you know, we've got many spiritual and psychic artists out there. There's a wonderful gentleman who I can recommend, Patrick Gamble. You know, his ability, you know, not just in the connection to, you know, guides and the spirit world, etc., and his clients, but his work itself, his actual artwork is outstanding. And I'm sure there's people on here tonight that have probably heard of Patrick. If you haven't, look him up. So go on, sorry, Paul.
I was going to say, Patrick, I'm going to see if we can get him on as a guest.
Patrick Gamble.
Okay, we're on it.
He's based down in Cornwall, I believe, and he's just he's fabulous at what he does, and it's unique, it's different. So of course, I'm using him as an example. So if he's watching tonight, I hope he doesn't mind. But so I use that as an example because of course his forte there is not just the link with the spirit world and the sitter, but it's also with the actual artwork. But then you also look at it. And you can look at it in the sense of other aspects of mediumship. So, you know, I know we've talked about automatic, you know, somebody said writing, so we can talk about automatic writing, but then you can also talk about trance. Now, I like trance. I don't do it in public. It's not my sort of thing. You know, eventually I'm sure I will do. I always say never, but there are people that love trance and they hone in on that, and the spirit world use that ability within the medium to enhance the experience for the sitter. So I think the spirit world will use what they can to enhance the connection and communication, not just for the medium, you know, because we've got to remember that it's not about the medium, it's about the sitter in front of us and the connection to their loved ones in the spirit world. So I know any of my loved ones that want to come through, they're going to use any ways that they possibly can to be able to make that happen, and they'll utilize that with the medium.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Lou's asked a question. Can you say what?
Yes. So Lou asks, have you seen Colin in spirit?
Yes, to answer it quickly, but yeah. So there was one point once. I don't know if I wrote about this or not, but yeah. So there was one point, quite a few years ago now. Again, it was before the lockdown. I was sat at home and I'd been doing some work in my room there, and I needed to meditate because I'd had a bit of a busy day and I was off to go and do a demonstration somewhere, and I sat. And I just meditated. And the only way I can describe it is it was probably one of the most amazing experiences that I've ever had, because it literally felt as though like it's almost like my own sort of spirit or soul, if you like, was sort of almost like lifted. I felt like I was lifted out of my body. Oh, wow. And I ended up going somewhere that was like, I just sort of walked through these trees, and as I looked, I sort of stepped into a road, and either side, all I could see were conifer trees on my side, and then on the opposite, there were fields of barley, There was a fence that you could climb sort of under, over, or through, and then just in the distance, off to my other side, was a house. Anyway, I crossed over the road, just looking out over to the fields, and I heard a whistle, but it was a distinctive whistle. And my granddad had no teeth, and the whistle was literally because he had no teeth, so he couldn't whistle properly. Yeah. So as I looked to my one side, I saw my nan and my granddad walking up together. And then all of a sudden, I just saw my granddad literally point as if to then look the opposite side. And as I looked the opposite side, then I saw Colin walking down. And nothing was, there were no words that were exchanged. It was just the energy of being there together and that experience. It never lasted long, or it never felt like it lasted long, but it lasted long enough. But yeah, there's been other times I've been aware of him, definitely. But that one sticks out the most.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Oh, there's lots here.
Ada? Do you want to do Ada?
Yeah, so Ada. Hi, Ada. Oh, sorry, I just clicked on it. Sorry.
Oh, me too.
Hi, Ada. My dear friend passed yesterday, and today he was felt around a colleague medium, and I found a sign that he was always getting, never me. What is your experience? Can those who were developing mediums or mediums easier contact us after they pass over? I've just said that all wrong, haven't I? It didn't make any sense, did it?
It made sense, yeah.
What is your experience? Can those who are developing the mediums or mediums easier to contact us after they pass over? Okay, I think sorry, Ada, I messed that up.
Well, Ada, first of all, I'm sorry for your loss. I questioned about this recently, about saying, why do we say sorry for the loss? And of course, because we know as mediums in what we do, we know they've gone somewhere else, and we know they're in the spirit world. But of course, we're sorry the fact that they're not with us in the physical sense anymore. So for me, no, I just think, again, I use my auntie as an example. Because she, and I think I've got this right anyway, but she lost a friend of hers a little while ago this year, and completely unexpected, out of the blue. And when it happened, or after it happened, they'd had the funeral and everything. And then one afternoon, I was sat in my auntie's garden with her. We were just chatting away, and all of a sudden, there was, I don't know if it was a pink feather. I believe, that's what I want to say it was. I believe it was a pink feather. Now, very rarely will you find pink feathers, unless you've got them on a party hat or something like that. But there was nothing around to sort of suggest that there was that was that. And anyway, it turned out that her friend who passed, her favourite colour was pink. So for me, the sign of, first of all, of a feather was significant for my auntie anyhow, but the fact that it was pink was also, that just elevated that experience for her. So, but to answer the question directly, I don't think it would make any difference. I think it's just the fact that we as mediums become aware, a lot more, and we're like, so when somebody does pass, you generally have that sense of knowing that they've passed, and it's like, right, okay, they're here. So, again, when one of my best mates died, his partner called me to say he's gone. And I knew. How I knew, I don't know. I just knew. And I was in the hotel where he should have been with me that night. And I was out and about. And there was just one point, he was there. And he's like, right, I'm over here now. Let's go and have a good time. So that was his way of letting me know that he was there. Short and sweet, but it was there. So I don't think that there's necessarily I don't think it's just because you're a medium it's any better or clearer. It's just the fact that we have that awareness. That's all.
Yeah. And I agree. I just put on here, yes, it does make it easier to know they live on. It really does. Mm-hmm. We've all lost, and it certainly helps me to know. Okay, that's another great question. One coming from Jay, but I want to come back to, can you see Tina Thomas on there?
Yes, I can.
That's a big one. So I might lose you with all this writing, Craig. So
oh, sorry.
I'll just really quick. Ready? I've been seeing flashing bright lights, and my eyes were tested, told it all was good. I felt something lay beside me on my bed, felt the mattress going down, as if a person lay on it right next to me. I hear tapping noises in my flat. I see shadows moving around me. Seen smoke appear in front of me when there's no smoke at all. What am I experiencing? Is this paranormal experience or something else? I've seen a bright electric blue orb to my room, and my brother, a month before my brother passed. I'm sorry for your loss as well. So,
yeah,
what is your experience?
again, I echo that. So I echo the.
Yeah.
So for me, I think I think for me with that, what it comes down to is, personally, I don't think it would be anything sort of that's paranormal. I think, you know, it would come down to, you know, again, like we were just saying, you know, loved ones will do what they can to let you know that they're there and that they're around. It's just about acknowledging and accepting that they're there and that's them. So for me, when these things happen, I always say to people, when these things happen, my advice is just who's the first person that comes into your mind when you see things like this. You know, write it down as well. Keep a bit of a timetable of it. You know, when's it happening? What times? Is there a specific date that it's happening? You know, is it a birthday? Is it an anniversary? Because, you know, if it's all happening at once, then there's obviously just so much energy there at the same time. But for me, if it's happening on individual days and times and things like that, make a note of it and be aware. But for me, again, it's just something I would say that is our loved ones or the loved ones there trying to let you know that they're around. And if they can do that in whatever way it might be, they will.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Serena has a great question. I always see white feathers everywhere around me. Could that be a sign of a loved one nearby? And I mean this polite when I say this next bit. I always say to people, when you see a feather, always look around and look, obviously, for the obvious reason. So, you know, if you're walking down the street, you know, if you just walked under or near a tree where there's birds and all that sort of thing, has a bird just flown over you, always look for that as well. But if you're at home and, you know, you're just sat there watching TV, relaxing, reading a book, whatever it might be, and all of a sudden, just out of the blue, there's a feather that just appears randomly that you know wasn't there, then my answer is yes. Because, again, we talk about the spirit world being a world of intelligence. That's what we do. We talk about them being a world of intelligence. And again, if they can show you a way that they're there, that's what they're going to do. Absolutely.
Oh, wow. We've also got Jay has asked a question. Can you set one from Jay, Jane?
Jay.
Just above Serena's.
No, I don't.
So I've got it. I can ping it in. Really.
Perfect.
Okay. How do I go about opening dialogue with my guides? Great question, Jay. I think that's very individualistic, isn't it? Or individual to the. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when it comes to you'll speak to some mediums that will say they have no idea who their guides are. They know that they're there, but they've no idea who they are. You know, I know when I'm working, I know I've got one guide in particular. I know that's there, but I believe I have a team of guides. But I also know, and for anybody that ever comes to see me work, whether it's at a private reading or whether it's a public demonstration, you'll quite often hear me talk about my nan and my granddad for different reasons, you know, and it might be what they did for a living, it might be their personalities and all that sort of thing. So for me, it's also about having the awareness, yes, of your guides. I tell you what, this is what I would say to people, you know, when it comes to, you know, acknowledge your guides. Simply sit, meditate, and send up your thoughts to your guides and say, come and talk to me. Again, I mentioned Tim Abbott earlier on, and, you know, when he was sitting, he would often say he used to sit for an hour a day, sometimes longer, from, if I can remember that correctly, but he would sit quite often on a daily basis and connect with these guys and his team. So it's about creating your own way of working with them, definitely.
Yeah, sorry about we're having a few broadband issues. I know, Craig, you had some issues today. You lost your broadband link, and we really appreciate that you're here today. So thank you for bearing with it.
Okay, so we have a question from Deborah. It's quite long, so again, it might cut you off.
Yeah, sorry about this, Craig.
So she says, hello, this gentleman is very inspiring and very humble. May I ask if you have any experience with cloud reading? I grew up seeing souls around our house and eventually developed a gift of being able to pass on messages. However, these days, I am able to perform readings from clouds. I also see souls in the clouds, but I don't really have anyone to compare notes with, to learn from, and sometimes I feel daft for saying that I can read from the clouds, although all readings I've done. See, I messed that one up too. So,
no. Wow, I want to say wow.
Yeah, yeah, that's a big wow.
Yeah.
So I've got to be honest to Deborah and everybody that's listening. I've never heard of anybody done readings from clouds before. However, that being said, I'm not being funny, but we're spiritual psychic mediums who sit there and say we talk to people who are dead. So do you know what? There are so many things that we can do. And Deborah, you say you might feel daft. Don't feel at all. One thing I can say is that you could pick up on anything and you can give a reading from it. It could be a sweet wrapper, it might be a pen, it might be a cup, it might be I don't know, a model of something, but you can pick up on things and look at things and give a reading from it. I mean, blimey, I've known people that have given readings from looking at flames of the fire. You know, we talk about tea leaves and looking into the cups, etc., and reading from that. So I don't see that should be any more different to those ways at all. It's not something that I've ever done, so I can't offer any notes upon that. But for me, it would be working. You know, if it works for you, then it works for you. Simple.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was a question a while back that we missed. I'm not sure if that was you, Carol, but what is your strongest clair sense? And has your clairs, or the clair skill set, as I call them, did you have them all, or was it one specific one to start with, Craig, and then you developed all of them? How does it work for you?
So for me personally, I think maybe for most mediums, I don't know, but certainly for me, I think the strongest clair that I use is my clairsentience, you know, so of course where we sense the spirit world. But you know, there are times when I'm working, and I always say that I use all my faculties as a medium, because by saying that you use all your faculties, you're not limiting what you can and can't use. So whenever I've done workshops and run workshops before, you know, there are people that will walk into the class, and I've had it before now. They don't do it anymore because they know what I'm like, but students will walk into the classroom and say, right, I'm here today, but I tend to use you know, my clairsentience. I don't see the spirit world, I don't hear the spirit world, I don't smell the spirit world, you know, but I'm willing, you know, but so for me, so when they start before they've even started the day and they say, I don't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this, and I don't do that, I then offer them a full refund straight away and say, do you want to go home? Because, and I mean it politely and I mean it respectfully, I always say, don't limit what you can and can't do. So I tell myself I can see, hear, and feel the spirit world, and sense the spirit world, and smell the spirit world. You know, again, the readings I've done today, you know, I've been on the journey where I got to see where they lived. You know, they've taken me to, say, a garden or a house. I got to smell, you know, what they used to smoke, or I got to smell what perfume or aftershave they used to wear. Yeah. So all of these things, you know, I become aware of, and a lot of the time, it's really not necessarily always about what clay you're using, but it's how you're receiving it. So are you getting it subconsciously up here, or subjectively up here, or objectively out here? That's the other thing, which just kind of opens up another, not a can of worms, but it opens up more questions. But so for me, I think all my clairs are my strongest, but I think ultimately the top one would be my clairsentience.
Oh, Carol's come back with us. Have you seen it? Oh, done, Carol. Carol, she's found it. Reading clouds is called aeromancy.
Yes.
So what? Awesome. That is so
good.
Good.
That is awesome.
Brilliant.
Yeah, thank you for that. My son has just shared a link. Thank you, Adam, because we have technical difficulties, so I need a little bit of help. So when we go into the messages in a little bit, you can jump on if you believe the message is for you. Before we say goodbye, we've still got a little bit of time yet, Craig. If you don't mind hanging on for a little bit longer, we want to kind of ask what's next for you. What is next for you?
Ooh, well, there's who knows what's next. That's all I can say. Who knows what's next? I don't believe there are any limitations. Of course, for me, it's just, do you know what? It's just about any opportunity Spirit would wish to offer up, any opportunities and journeys I get to go on, I'm going to embrace. You know, I'm getting to visit new countries and new places as we go into the new year next year. And all I can say is, who knows? So there's no limits. We'll just see what happens.
Oh, Helen's asked another big question. Can we get that in there, Jane, do you think?
Where is it?
I'm going to star it. Can you see that one?
Oh, the big one?
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay. Yes, we can. We can do that. Do you want to read it? Or...
Yeah, I can do it. When I've been unwell, I've had spirits speak to me, but they've just given me their name. I've had 4 knocks on the bedside table to get my attention. It didn't scare me, but this is their way of letting us know they are there. Or is it that we are at the point of our consciousness of just complete emptiness and openness that is easier for spirit to communicate with us? Great question. Great question.
Absolutely. I'm sure everybody's now sort of like throwing out these big questions now just to try and catch you out, to make them longer as long as they can. But yeah, great questions. So yeah, again, it's just ways of acknowledging that you know, the loved ones are around and that they're there. It definitely. But there was one example I was going to give. Then it's gone right out my head. But for me, I'm just going to go and look at the question myself so that I can see it. Because you see, for me, I don't think the spirit world will use any way that they can, like I say, to let us know that they are there, and particularly when you're unwell. So one quick example, if I can give it, I don't know what time we've got, but I'll give it anyhow.
Right, plenty of time.
So there's a family member. Cool. So a family member who was expecting their second child in our family. And this was during the lockdown, during the actual, you know, at the peak of COVID. And the mother-to-be had contracted COVID, which the little one also contracted. And she also had other underlying health issues as well. And basically what happened was she was taken into the hospital. No family members could be there, and they had to deliver the baby 10 weeks early. So they delivered this baby 10 weeks early, and then of course he got COVID as well when he was born. So at one point they were like, we don't know if he's going to survive or not, and they said all we can do is make him comfortable. However, just going back to the mom, then I'll go back to the little one. The mom, who at this point was then recovering on her own private ward, she called us and went on to loudspeak. So we listened to the phone call, and basically she said, right, I don't understand what's going on, and I didn't know who else to call. She goes, but basically what's happening is, because I'm in my room on my own, there's nobody else here. She goes, and as I close my eyes, I'm seeing a room full of people. But then I open my eyes and there's nobody there. Then I close my eyes and then again, a room full of people. So my response was quite simply, just tell them she's being looked after. She's being looked after. So for me, of course, at this point, so much healing was going out to the spirit world to saying, come on, make them better, get them home. And so I'm very much a believer in that. So again, just going on to what Helen was saying there, the spirit world will let you know that they're around, certainly when you're unwell, because they'll want you to know that you're going to be okay. And in this case, it was the case. Mom got to go home. She got to visit a little boy, and he's now 2 years old, running around like a little trooper and living life, I tell you. So it's amazing what the spirit world can do.
Mm-hmm.
Craig, it's been absolutely brilliant. We can't thank you enough for coming on. Both Jane and I have really thoroughly enjoyed your company this evening.
Yes, very much indeed.
I'm just sorry about my internet connection again, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for bearing with us, everybody. And I'm sure everybody at home can't thank you enough for coming on, giving up your precious time as well, and sharing your experiences. Do you mind if I just share I'm just going to put this up on screen so everyone can see. So to get in touch with Craig, if you want to pop along and see where Craig is appearing next, have a quick look on his website. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, guys. Hopefully you can see that. Just give you a moment. And so we also run a competition, and a part of the inspiration that we do to get the information out there, we offer free readings, Craig. And I think it's my turn this week, Jane, isn't it?
Sure. Can
you pick someone who's shared? Guys, if you've shared, let us know you've shared. Oh, Carol's just put handsome devil. So I think you've got a fan there, Craig. So yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Brilliant. So if you don't mind picking a name for us, somebody who's shared, and I can then offer half an hour free reading, guys.
You want me to choose for you, Paul?
Yeah, please.
Yes, please.
Okay. Let's go then. Let's go for I am drawn to, who am I drawn to? I'm drawn to Ada.
Ah, okay. The lovely Ada. She's all the way over in Croatia, I believe.
Oh, well.
So brilliant. Congratulations, Ada.
Fabulous.
All right.
Yes, congratulations.
Brilliant. I look forward to seeing you. So get in touch. Oh, she's put shared. Brilliant. Get in touch with me and we'll set up a time. Okay. But now it's time to say goodnight, Craig. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, thank you. It was lovely to meet you.
Pleasure for having me. You too, likewise. Thank you.
Take care. Thanks, then. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. That's terrible. I don't like to drop him out because of the delay. So, but thank you guys for bearing with us. So we're now going to go into some readings, aren't we, James?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Get rid of that banner. So it's been an absolutely brilliant night. Thanks everybody for joining us. It's been brilliant. So we're going to work differently. So I have shared the link on here. My son has been working away sharing the link. So if you feel you want to come in, we might be able to give you a direct message. We're just going to try and experiment and work differently. So we'll see how that goes. So I almost dropped out then.
Please don't do that.
Yeah.
Please don't do that.
That's Jane on her own. Right, Jane. So how are we going to work? It's similar to what we did last week. Hi Sammy. She said she really enjoyed it as well. We're going to work similar, but I'm going to try and connect with spirit, but we are, guys, if you want to ask a question, Jane is going to connect, and I'm going to try and connect through Jane as well. So we're going to go psychic and see if we can get somebody in as well from the spirit.
You just gave me like full body goosebumps saying that, and throughout the whole show, I've been having that dizzy feeling. So I think that there's somebody in the audience.
I've been feeling.
Yeah,
but I've got somebody with me as well. Yeah,
yes.
I'm feeling someone, and they would have been really poorly, really poorly as well, because I can feel that. Okay, straight in. Okay, we have a question, Jane.
Okay.
I'm currently pregnant, but the tests are going to show negative for a while. Oh, not sure what you're getting from that.
I wish I knew the person's actual name, Zobo's actual name.
Absolutely.
That would help a lot more.
Yeah. Can you give me your name?
Just the first name would be great.
So I'm just going to drop that. Yeah. Don't know if they can hear it or
not. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, I'm just putting.
Zoe, that makes sense.
Oh, Zoe. Okay, hi Zoe.
Okay, thank you, Zoe. Is she currently pregnant? I heard that's true.
Okay.
What did you get, Paul?
I'm just going to post this link because people are asking me to post the link. They're still not coming on. Craig's just come up as well and said, apologies for the internet connection. It was a pleasure to be with you both this evening. Thank you, Craig.
Yes, thank you, Craig.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, I don't know why I make these technical issues so difficult. Hang on, bear with me, guys. I'm hoping my son is watching so he can repaste. That would be great. So if you're listening, Adam. Okay, Rhonda's put, will my son get through his deep depression? No, I don't know why it's not taking it. I really don't know why it's not pasting. Yeah, and it's freezing. I'm so sorry, guys.
There, I can get it to paste.
Oh, have you? Oh, great. I've got it out. Okay, it's pasting now, guys, if you want to get in.
Okay, so will my son get through his dark depression? I hear yes. It will take a while, though.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I get a similar thing, but I'm also getting a spirit connection with that, Rhonda. And yeah, I do. Would you understand Dad in the spirit world, Rhonda? Because I feel like I've got Dad in the spirit world as well. Do you understand this? I think you do, because I'm sure I've had him through before. I'm very much feeling him. Yes. Okay, brilliant. Who works? Okay. And I'm also feeling, I know this is a problem. We know a little bit about Rhonda. We've read for her recently. I know the move is going to happen. There's some doubts about the moving, but it's making me aware of the moving as well, the moving house as well. But there's been some doubts. Dad's talking about some doubts around that. Okay. And just hold on to that. Also, forgive me. Yeah. See, this is where I could go into a deep. It's not supposed to be this way. We're trying to do it really quickly, weren't we? Yes, problem arose in today. Okay, brilliant. Excellent. Well, it's not excellent. I'm so sorry, but Dad's making me aware of this. I kind of feel like you're in two minds whether to stay put for a little while. I kind of feel that is the right thing. It's going to take a little bit longer. He's trying to make me aware of the house and the problem with the house. I'm also aware that somebody else in the family is poorly at the moment because he's making me aware of that. But lots of healing thoughts and love to them as well. I know they're going to be okay because he's making me aware of that. Okay. So great. Rhonda says, yes, brilliant. If you see the link, guys, you're more than welcome to jump in. Sammy did come in, but she's jumped out again.
I saw that, yes. And I wanted to say that dizzy energy that has been with me since before the show, Rhonda, as soon as Paul started talking, that dizzy energy went away. So that, for me, that message is definitely for you. And
yeah, he was really strong.
Yes.
He wanted to come in. He's been wanting to come in all night. Yeah. He's been in and around me all night, Rhonda.
Yes.
Yeah, undecided whether to stay or move now. I kind of feel that the energy your father was giving me was... It's not that it's not the wrong thing to do, but I do feel that you need to just kind of slow down a little bit, give it chance before you make that decision to move. Okay, or whether the house is the right place. Okay, it keeps freezing. Anyone else? Sorry, guys, if it's freezing. We are working on the technical problems. It's just my internet has just been restored. Sometimes it dips out here in the country. Somebody else asked a question. Keep the questions coming, guys. Oh, was my friend Ash around me today from Ada? Okay. Oh, Rhonda's coming in.
Rhonda's coming in.
Hi, Rhonda.
Hi, Rhonda.
Yeah. Oh, my sound's not working. Hang on.
We can hear you perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can hear you perfectly. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, you've turned your microphone off.
Yes.
Yeah, you've turned your microphone off. Because it says on the screen, you've turned it off. That's coming up, Rhonda. Can you see? So I might drop you out, Rhonda, if you can't sort your mic out. Can you hear me? Let's unmute you. See if I can unmute. Yeah, no, it's not letting you unmute. Nope. Sorry, Rhonda. Sorry. Okay, we're gonna drop Rhonda out. And we got Sammy. Hi, Sammy. How you doing?
Hello.
Hi, Sammy.
Nice to see you.
Hello. Yeah.
Awesome. Have you got a question for us?
Probably just like a spiritual question, if that's okay. Just in terms of energetically at the moment, I feel a lot of different vibrations. I just feel like there is like a massive perhaps shift coming interlinked to kind of like the world and stuff. I'm quite a somebody that uses my kind of gut feeling a lot of the time, and I get a lot of guidance through that. And I just feel like sort of emotions are very raised at the moment.
Okay.
As well.
Would you say that you're responding to the world in terms of how we see the world at this moment in time?
Kind of. I feel like it's perhaps maybe sort of changes to come. As well. Like there's been a big sort of shift politically as well. And it's sort of maybe a clearance.
Yeah.
Whether that makes any sense or not.
Yeah, no, it does. Because what have you got, Jane?
So I was writing stuff down as you were talking, Sammy, and when you said a shift coming, I received full body goosebumps. When you said the gut feeling, Spirit said to use it more. And then when you're talking about the world situation, Spirit actually did this. They put their hands over my ears. And they're saying that you're listening too much. And I'm getting full body goosebumps saying that, oh, you just did a reaction there. You know, you just, so obviously, like, I don't know you, but you're obviously very, very sensitive.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
I know people say that they tell themselves that they're too sensitive, but I find that people that are quote unquote too sensitive are actually very beautiful people because they feel things on a deeper level than a lot of people do. Spirit just said for you to embody that. So I don't know if you've been pushing that sensitivity away, but they want you to embody it more.
Okay.
I don't know if you're working spiritually though, Sammy, but I'm being told you got a new guide coming in.
Oh, that's exciting.
Which is causing the shift in energy within you. So that's quite interesting, isn't it?
Interesting.
So, do you want me to carry on?
I do. I have a bit of a premonition, so I'll go see what you say first, and then I'll feed.
Okay, there's two aspects to it. It's not just about mediumship. There's also a healing aspect to your mediumship that you bring.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure whether you'll do have a duality, whether you'll be healing and working with mediumship at the same time. So. But I know your sensitivity has shifted because of the connection that's coming in. Okay, so I'm seeing that really strongly. There is something really interesting as well. I don't know what you've done spiritually, but your aura is really bright and really glowing. So I don't know what you're doing, but it's working. Okay, there's a lot of vibrancy and a lot of energy around you at this moment in time. Although you're sitting there, you've got your dressing gown, you look like you're in bed. Your aura is very glowing. You do have a lot of vibrancy and a lot of energy and a lot of healing energy around you at this moment in time.
Yeah. Thank
yeah.
you.
No.
I got a sense of like a male coming into my energy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I felt when you sort of said that. I get quite a lot energetically from my hands, I feel.
Yeah, and Laurie Prophet has just made a comment as well. And you're an energy worker. So So yeah, so that's quite interesting, especially we're in difficult times at the moment. Yeah. The secret is not to get into that fear too much. Okay, stay centered.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sammy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Awesome. We're going to try Rhonda once more. We've got Carol in the background as well. See, hopefully thank goodness you're back in, Rhonda.
Yeah, I couldn't hear a thing.
That's okay. You muted yourself somehow, so we're really glad you're back.
I don't know. People do say I talk too much, so maybe it's the spirits telling me to shut up.
Absolutely not. So did you want to ask your question? Was it about the house?
Yeah, I mean, my first initial question was, would my son get through his dark depression? Because that suddenly hit him again today. And also, Jane, last week you said that the house mood would go silky smooth. Well, today it hasn't. We had a bombshell that the buyers are going to pull out. But
yeah, just bear with that. I think that's gonna happen.
I agree, because I heard just wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just bear with it. It's not everything happens straight away, but just bear with it. Okay. All right.
Okay.
But your dad is coming really strongly, and it could be the question about your son that you're asking.
Yeah.
Also feel that your son's going on a different direction.
Okay.
He's trying to make me aware that he's doing something else, whether retraining, but he's doing something else. And I kind of feel, I don't know how old your son is, don't tell me, but I kind of feel this either there's some kind of outside learning or a day course. There's something going on. And he's making me aware that he kind of needs to change what he's doing.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. But there is something else for him coming up. So look out for that. Something where he's going to either retrain with a new skill, but it's better for him holistically, if that makes sense. The whole of him, he'll certainly thrive in a different environment.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Your dad's been here all night.
Yes.
Oh, has he?
All night.
Well, I don't know whether you saw my comments earlier. When I was listening to Craig and you guys, I got my earphones in, then all of a sudden I said to Shane, I can taste perfume in my mouth. It was like as if somebody had just sprayed it and then it had gone for 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was just really strange. And then it's like it was there, then it's gone.
Well, that will be Spirit's way of showing you it works. So I remember once I was at a demonstration at Durham, and I remember giving a message to a lady in the front row, and I tasted, the old-fashioned playhouses in the UK, where they used to put a lot of white powder on their face. I actually tasted the white powder, and suddenly I was there. I got, like Craig was saying, I was taken into the playhouse, but it started with the taste. So it will be Spirit, because we're in conversation like this.
Yeah,
Spirit will show you. Okay, so it's really good. That obviously means something for you as well, then, Rhonda, that you're starting to develop and starting to open.
Do you think? Well, you say that because about a few days ago, I had like a ringing in my ears, and I'd never experienced that before.
Interesting.
And I know that you'd mentioned that to Steph about a sort of ringing.
Ringing, absolutely. You have to be careful. It's not tinnitus, of course.
Yeah. Well, it could be at my age.
I know sometimes we have to look for the logical reasons, but there can be sort of high pitch. Another indication for me is when I find people going off to sleep at night, they can hear like a radio in the background, people talking.
Oh, okay.
So look out for that. Okay.
Will do.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for persevering, Rhonda.
That's all right, you know me. I look forward to having my reading with you next week, Jane. Sorry it took a little bit of a while, but
oh no, it's okay. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get Carol in. Thanks, Rhonda. Take care.
Okay.
Bye. Bye. It does feel better that that gentleman, Rhonda's father, needed to come through tonight. Absolutely.
Oh yes, yes. I feel so much better because even halfway through the show with Craig Morris, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to fall off my chair. I'm so dizzy, what's going on? And as soon as Rhonda came on, the dizziness left.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Let's bring Carol in. Hi, Carol.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Carol.
Hiya. Do you feel, is Spirit changing the way that I'm going to be working? Is it changing me to a different
Yes, I
focus?
do. Again, I'm getting full body goosebumps. So for me, that's confirmation. So Yes, I do feel that you are, and I'm seeing the word consciousness. I don't know if you just said that word, but I almost feel like how it feels for me is that Spirit is showing me that you're shooting out of your body and then you're coming back in. I don't know why you're doing that, if it's to experience different elements kind of thing and back in, but I do feel that you are shifting, you are changing. Spirit just shows me like, you're here, you're out. You're here, you're out. You're here, you're out.
Yeah, I'm not getting the same. I'm not working the same way as I used to. I can't seem to hold on to images more. It's like well, it's like I'm up with the angels.
I was going to say
they're doing something.
You two, both of you work in a very similar way with the angelics, Carol. And that's what's changing to you. You're going to a higher frequency. You're working with the angelics. Can you share with our viewers what the lady said to you when you went in the doctor's the other day?
Oh, yeah. I walked in and she went, oh, she said, oh, for a moment, she said it looked like you had angel wings coming out of your back when you came through the door.
And that was a lady coming past you, going out the door?
Yeah, as I was coming in.
A complete stranger?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is.
And that's all I could feel at the psychic evening with the lady that was there. I just felt she was an angel.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, will I be able to work in both ways? Will I be able to give readings from spirit, or have I got to learn?
Okay. Can I answer
how
this?
to go?
Yes, of course. Yes.
yes, and yes.
Right.
So you've got two different levels, and I find I don't always communicate with guides and angels for people. My thing, I guess, I set my intention early days, but because people can't validate your guide, so and I believe it's very much the person's responsibility to go on their own journey to discover their own guide. So for me, I've always focused, but when I've had the angelics, excuse me, or a guide come in, I noticed the vibration goes a lot higher. So for you, it's about.
I feel it's an automatic thing. As soon as I start to sit in the power, it's like I feel this almighty love and glow and absolutely want to cry.
You're definitely working both levels. Hi, Debbie, and Debbie Pike has said, "Come in." Hi, Debbie. You can definitely do both. Absolutely.
That's good, because I did enjoy giving people the readings when I was like being in a video with them.
Yeah.
And it's also lovely, the feeling from angels, but I don't know yet how the angels will work. What do you do?
Well, firstly, don't force it. Just go with it.
Yes, I find working with the angels that, as long as I show up, become that vessel for them to work through, then they see me as the open vessel and then they work through me. So I don't necessarily know how things are going to show up. I just trust that they do, because I've allowed spirit or, universe, guides, angels to work through me. So I just heard, they're like, you needn't worry, Carol, you needn't worry, because I have found that our guides work with us the way that we are. So if you're shy and quiet, then people's guides tend to be shy and quiet. If they're loud and speak a lot, or anything like that, then they can't think of the word, but how you are in life is how they are. So if you're loud, they're not going to be quiet. They will work alongside with you as you are, as everybody is.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you can't hear them, you can ask them to speak louder, turn up the volume. For me, if I'm reading somebody and I can't hear what their guides are saying, I know that the person's either quiet or shy, and I'll ask spirit to come stand right in front of my face and talk to me.
Well,
and then
Friday, I could just visualize them all behind me, this throng looking down with such love to this lady, but it felt like the love was coming out of my eyes. I felt like they were glowing, and I was on such a high. It was just I had to hug her.
And your angels love you so much. As soon as you said that you could feel that, and you did this gesture with your hands, I heard, "We love you so much."
Yeah.
They hugged me in the week I wasn't well. They hugged me. I felt the whole thing come round me, and they hugged me.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Group hug.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks,
I love it. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Take care. If anybody else wants to come in, please do. And before we go into a couple more, there is something else that after we messed up, I messed up the intro, Jay. I'm so sorry.
I think it was a dual action.
You know, maybe. But one of the things I wanted to say to everybody, the kind people that come on every Wednesday to watch us, you know, spiritual talk belongs to you. We just bring in what we think you'd like to hear from. Guys, if you want to hear about a different subject, you can message Jane or myself via our emails or our websites. Just drop us a line. Any particular subjects you'd like to look at or for us to explore, please let us know. And we have got some fabulous guests coming on. I think thanks to Carol as well, we're booked almost for 3 months, I think. So
wow.
That's brilliant. We're busy for the next few months. So I've just noted Caroline. Hi, Caroline. I miss my brother so much. I know that's a statement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you know, I just want to reassure you that our loved ones and it's easy for me to say as a medium. I hear them, I feel them, and for people that feel cut off from that, I wish I could give you that experience that they're around you. You look for the signs, and I'm sure you'll get a sign. Ask him for a sign as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But thank you for that, Caroline. Okay, I've got loads here, so much. Okay, let's get back on this. Jamie Lee. Hi, Jamie Lee. Will my health start to improve?
So with that question, Jamie Lee, what I feel energetically is okay. Energetically, it feels very flat. So, and I don't want you to read into that it's going to decline, but I feel like there's something that you need to do in order for the energy of your question to go up. I don't know if that makes any sense, Paul. I see you kind of shaking your head, but
no, I'm in two minds as well, because I've also got something else that I've picked up on. So I'm so sorry.
Okay. I think that it will, but I feel it's going to be a slow incline.
Yeah, and I don't know why. Forgive me for saying this, Jamie. Is your diet a problem? If you're having problems with your diet, is there a problem? I don't know what that's about. I was just picking up on that as well. But thank you for that. Let us know. Let us know. Talk to us in the comments if that resonates. Don't worry, we're still here. Okay. Also, because I was connecting to Helen, who works with me in my drawings.
Ooh, as soon as I read that, or you said it, I heard Archangel Michael.
Oh, okay. If that resonates with you, Helen, that's awesome. I like what, as Craig was talking about, I believe there's a team. I always believe there's a team. We had the lovely Sandy Ingham, artist, spiritual portrait artist, come on. She was amazing. And she had Leonardo da Vinci. So it's like, okay. I almost said Leonardo DiCaprio. That would be completely wrong because he's still alive. And he can't draw, I don't think. So yeah, no, absolutely. I do feel that that's a high vibration. I wouldn't mind. I would actually say it was angelic, definitely. Okay, so other questions. Will my health improve? Yeah, for the angel wings aid is put. I'm just quickly going through these guys. Okay, Debbie's put a response back to Carol. So guys, you can always come back on and look. Hi from New Zealand, Delwyn. Hello. Brilliant. Okay. Here's one from Eddie. I mix pagan paths with different paths. I don't want a spiritual label as such. I often feel pressure to pick a team. What would you say with that?
I don't really know. It makes sense to me that like where I live, there's a lot of pagans. There are. I just heard different strokes for different folks.
Absolutely.
So,
don't limit yourself. Do not limit yourself, Eddie. Just go
definitely.
with what you feel right. What you feel right. Lee has asked, will the decision I make lead to a brighter future?
Yes, Spirit's like, as long as you put thought into it, then it will.
Yeah, and I actually think that's also around a house move for you, Lee. Okay. 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 I believe there was one. I'm so sorry if I've missed people. There was one that came in. There was loads that okay, Suzanne. Hi, Suzanne, if you're still listening. Let us know if you're still listening. Is my son helping me with all these hurricane challenges?
So energetically, my body feels like it's swaying back and forth. I'm still trying to figure out what that means, but it's definitely an energetic shift, and it's like not the hurricane going back and forth. I heard that, yes, he is doing the best that he can. What do you get from that, Paul? I'm
picking up as another gentleman in the spirit world with your son that's also working with him to help you. I actually feel there's at least 3 people that I'm picking up, 2 around your son that are working with you. And yeah,
it's making me very dizzy.
Forgive me for saying this as well, because I know I've read for you before, Suzanne, but forgive me for saying this. I do feel you're doing too much at the moment. You're overdoing it. Okay, so just make sure that you're looking after yourself as you're helping others. Okay.
I'm starting to feel like a little bit of a sore throat with Suzanne's name. So that to me does resonate, that she's doing too much.
Yeah. Zoe has put, are me and my partner in the wrong for feeling how we are at the moment regarding this situation within the family?
I received no, that you're not. And then Spirit showed me that you are being backed up. So whether it's Spirit backing you up with the decision or somebody else in the family is backing you up, but I feel like somebody is standing behind me. It feels like a male to me, backing both you and your partner up with the decision.
Yeah, because I know I've read for this lovely lady before, and I can feel mum in the spirit world. I can feel there's a brother in the spirit world. Without going into too much detail, I kind of I got the message I got when you was talking, Jane, that more will be revealed. Okay. And just step back and let what was that poem? Is it If, isn't it, where the world is falling around you and you keep your counsel, basically. Just allow things to unfold, okay, before you make any decisions or rash choices. Okay. Not surprised helping others. Thank you, Suzanne. I meant to work spiritually with grieving parents. Last one. Okay, sorry guys, we are running out of time. I'm meant to work spiritually with grieving parents. I'll go more into depth with that, Ada, on your free reading. Okay, we'll connect with your loved ones, and we'll go into that a little bit deeper. My initial feeling is but there's so much more anyway. There's so much more than that. And I know where you live is a beautiful part of the world, but I know you talked about this before about a spiritual retreat. That's only again only a small part of it. So I kind of feel like it's quite exciting times for you as well, like this real voyage of discovery. I know you've been on holiday recently, but I'm talking about more of an internal connection spiritually with you. Everything started to open and really quickly as well. So we'll connect on your free reading soon. Guys, it's time for us to go. We've got to that time already. We're back next week. Jane, you can't make next week. You're away.
Correct. Yes.
So don't worry, we'll still be back here. We've got a lovely guest, and I might pronounce this wrong, Helen van der Hooft. Okay, medium, and very experienced medium, and not just a medium, a healer as well. And she does so much. So looking forward to having her back or on the show next week. And we'll be here this time next week, guys. So take care for now, everybody.
Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.